Fellowship, hi, Chris. We did it. We made it to lesson 5. We are about to be in the final lesson here in the Mountains Bible Study. I wanted to give you a preview of what you're going to experience this week. The title is Relying on God's Presence to Carry You Through. Relying on God's presence to carry you through. And we are going to be in Matthew chapter 28. We're going to be at the Mount of Great Commission, where Jesus commissions his disciples. And I hope by now you have found that there's a chart at the end of every lesson that gives you a picture of what we've been looking at together. And then at the very, very end of the study on page 130 and 131, you'll see the full thing. So if you want a copy of that, just let Jonathan know, but help you see how this cohesive, unified story of God's love can be traced through just a handful of the mountains that we've looked at together. And can I just say what a joy it has been to be in God's word. And I cannot wait to study valleys. So we'll talk about that here in a little bit. So this week, we're going to be in Matthew 28. And if I'm honest, every part of the Mountains Bible Study changed my life. But this lesson, it's going to stay with me. And that's a pun that's intended. As I researched the Great Commission, I had to pause on some of the scholarly work of Ian Boxall. He's written some great commentaries on the Sermon on the Mount. And he titles God, the God who stays. The God who stays. And let that just sink in for a moment. You're going to read some of what I'm saying right now later in the week. Our God is the one who stays. It's unlike any relationship that's ever left us feeling abandoned, forgotten, unimportant. Jesus cannot and will not leave us. And so to anyone who's been self-protecting your heart, you're guarding it, you can be safe with Jesus. He is the one who will stay always. And the Great Commission, I think, shows us that. And so I want to hit on 3 things that you're going to see this week. When you are not alone. You're not alone. And maybe that's what your heart just aches to hear, that you're not alone. I've got godly men and women in my orbit who have suffered the agonizing loneliness that comes after being left at the altar, kicked out of a church, rejected by a loved one, let go from a job, fired from a church. You guys, as the world closes in those moments, we look around and we feel alone, but we're not. That's not the whole truth. Yes, you might be standing alone, and facing the unthinkable without the people you thought would be standing next to you, but Jesus is by your side. You have a companion and Jesus is with you. Number 2, you're not doing this work alone. You know, if you're on mission for Jesus, you can't do that without God's help. Self-reliance is really my thing. Autonomy, really my thing. And our world celebrates ability and aptitude, but that doesn't necessarily translate into ministry success, right? Celebrity status and numbers and goals and people in seats at churches are not necessarily the metrics that really evaluate our heart posture, our connectedness with Jesus. And so when Jesus commissions Christians to go and make disciples of all nations, to bless them with his teaching and the opportunity to express their faith through baptism, he's not telling us to get out there and get it on our own. Good luck. May the force be with you. We are sharing God's love with the power of his presence. And so there is a way, I think, to serve God and make Jesus auxiliary to our efforts. I think I've done that before. I think I've wanted it to be about Jesus, but I've made him like siloed on the side, just auxiliary to what we're doing. And it's been about my story, my faith, my mission, my purpose. Those are good things. I just want to caution and encourage you that you're not doing this work alone, right? You're doing it with God's presence. And we're going to see that in this final mountaintop experience where he commissions worshipful and doubtful Christians with his staying presence. And I'm going to share a story with you from Angel Fire Mountainside, a place where my family and I vacationed. And there's a moment where my husband said to me, "I'm right here with you." And I knew it. He was standing right next to me. But it was so comforting to hear. And that's my prayer for you in this final lesson, lesson number 5, that you would be comforted with God's presence, that he is right here with you now.